Ladies and gentlemen, boys and pearls, welcome to episode 16 of the Bearded Purl Podcast. I'm Caleb.
I'm Justin.
And this is a podcast about the fiber arts and other crafty shenanigans. You can find us on Ravelry, Instagram, YouTube, and sometimes Facebook as the Bearded Purl. Welcome, everybody. Today is Sunday, April 11th, 2021.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm very distracted because we have a gargoyle on the stairs staring at us very intently.
It's Buster. He's staring.
But like this. From far away, he looks like he belongs on the side of a building. He's mad because we covered up his window and he can't birdwatch.
Yeah.
So hi.
Hello.
It's
Welcome.
been 2 weeks since our last confession. Why is that funny? It's really true.
I grew up Catholic. I don't know.
I mean, we have a lot to confess. We've had a busy couple of weeks, right? Mm-hmm. Now I'm distracted by you trying to tempt the cat. Oh, and...
So everyone always gets to see Daffodil, but they don't get to see Buster. So here he is. I mean, he's not going to say hi now, but...
Yeah, now he's going to be weird, even though he wanted to get up here.
There we go.
You'll probably hear him purring very heavily into the microphone in a few minutes. So what have we been up to? Let's see. We had a shop update.
We had a shop update yesterday.
Did a lot of sewing.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, probably the most exciting thing that's happened for us in the last 2 weeks is we were both able to get our first COVID vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
You got yours on Monday and I got mine on Tuesday. So we're really excited to have that process started. It was an interesting experience, wasn't it?
So my appointment was at 9:10, and I have to say it was all very well done, but I think they were just completely overwhelmed with the amount of people that signed up and weren't staffed enough to keep everybody flowing through. So my appointment was at 9:10, and I don't think I got my vaccination until about 10:15.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I was there almost an hour waiting. But the line was huge. And then, of course, after I got my vaccine and finished waiting the 15-minute wait period and left and looked at the line again, there was maybe 6 or 7 people in line. But it was great. It was a really good step forward.
So we use different doctor groups because of our health insurance for work. And I had mine Tuesday morning. And my process was a little bit different. My appointment was at 8 a.m., and I had my vaccine by like 7:55. So I was early. And I mean, it was a great experience. It was a little bit emotional kind of sitting in line, just thinking about how long maybe we've been waiting for something that feels like a really positive step forward. Mm-hmm. It felt like a heavy responsibility, like I should be here, to do this. But then in the moment, like it's just over just like that. And then, so it's like a big up and then not a down, but just, it's a quick shot in the arm and then you're done.
Overwhelming emotional experience.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do my part and get my vaccine. And
yeah, we're grateful that we were able to get it and have our last appointments at the end of the month. And then we'll be, more protected than we are today. So we're excited about that. So that kind of changed maybe the tone of the week a little bit, because I think just in general, neither one of us felt bad after our injection. I'm sure he's just like right here in the microphone. I mean, I can hear him. So that's what the rumble is.
Yeah.
But I think just in general, we were both pretty
just
tired. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not sick tired, but just
and I didn't really
out through the week.
I didn't really have a sore arm. But you did.
Oh, mine was so sore.
No,
but
the flu shot last year, that was killer.
Yeah, so we were lucky enough that we didn't feel poorly at all during the week, but I think just in general we were really tired throughout the week, which is pretty normal for me anytime I get a vaccine.
Oh, I thought you meant just you're normal.
I mean,
Lately, I'm always exhausted.
Tired at bedtime, yeah. But otherwise, that's been a good week. We had a beautiful weekend last weekend and got to spend a lot of time outside. In fact, most of the day on Sunday we spent outside. Mm-hmm. We got all of the pots out for spring In fact, we're making, well, our first together official run to the garden center. I've been once without you.
Right.
To stock up on stuff. But we've been getting all the beds cleaned out, getting all the peonies caged up. The peonies that are currently this tall, just starting to peak up. The hyacinth are blooming. We had a couple of daffodils come up, so the garden's starting to look like spring.
Mm-hmm.
We got a little bit of rain. The grass is really starting to green up, so it's early for us to be enjoying this much spring.
It's a couple of weeks early.
But it's beautiful outside.
We had a really mild winter overall. I mean, it was long, but
we're ready. We love this time of year.
yeah, I love winter, and every spring I am happy to see it, go for another couple of months. And
I feel like I didn't get as anxious this year, though, needing spring to come. I feel like last year I had a moment, maybe in February or March.
We also had a lot of snow, and it was really cold.
Yeah.
Whereas this winter it was pretty mild, which
Not
was
too
nice.
bad. Yeah.
We did get a lot of snow towards the end of winter, but it wasn't bad.
So our seedlings that we started inside, our lettuces are like this big. They're huge. They look great, and we'll be ready to go outside in a couple of weeks. We're getting our strawberries transplanted. They're getting moved into something that we can better protect against
They're currently
our little friends.
They're currently in one of those. It's like an 8-cell strawberry pot, and they do great in it. It looks great, but every time we can't keep the chipmunks out before we actually get to have a strawberry. So we'll see it, and it'll be like just turning pink, and then the next day it'll be gone.
Boom, gone.
So hopefully we're gonna transplant all of those into a like oak barrel planter, and then hopefully we'll be able to create like a cage that can kind of
some sort of
keep the creatures out. Because I would like to get strawberries, not just look at them.
little buggers. I think we've had those same strawberry plants. This is their third summer, and we have yet to get a single strawberry that we eat.
Right, and there's some beautiful varieties, and a few of them actually have. So the typical strawberry flower blossom has white petals, and there's a couple in there that have like a deep red and pink, so they're really pretty.
When
and
we
I
get
would
to
love
see
to
them.
taste what they taste like, but someday I'll get a strawberry.
I noticed when I was out there this morning that apparently the strawberry plant that was up against the garage, between the garage and the patio, infiltrated the patio, because now we have strawberry plants growing out of the patio next to the garage.
So we'll take those up and put those in the...
We'll see if we can rearrange those. But otherwise, we had a surprise.
Did we?
Yeah,
What was that?
a week ago Monday. Was it just last Monday? Or 2 Mondays ago? I don't know when it happened now. But we got gutters on our garage,
Oh, that's right.
which we knew we were getting.
I mean, we called them to have them out and look at the garage, and
Signed a quote.
signed a quote, paid a down payment, and it was not even a week later. And then they just showed up with, with no
phone
warning.
call, no email, no text message. Literally, they showed up in the driveway like to put the gutters on the garage. So that was fun. Apparently, that's a thing that keeps happening to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Tradespeople. A 15-minute phone call is always really helpful.
well, we did get a 15-minute warning for the vanity, and that did not please you at all.
No, but I
So by 15 minutes, you mean 3 days?
I've realized that any warning is better than no warning.
Yeah, just a surprise. I'm just glad we were here
Because I was just about to pull out of the driveway.
you
because
had to
I had
leave
to go into
for
work. And
we hadn't actually talked to them about where we wanted the downspout.
or when it was going to happen.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, it's good. We have a new rain barrel, which is great. We wanted a rain barrel. It's connected. We finally got a nice amount of rain last night and went and checked the barrel. And
In the last 3 days, we've had a decent amount of rain, and it's funny how everything has gone from like the end of winter brown to really green and alive in just a couple of days and a little bit of rain.
Yeah.
So that's nice to see that stuff is starting to come alive again, and I feel like it's that time for
spring
spring.
flowers.
Yeah.
It's happening.
And my nephew is having a school fundraiser. And this one is in partnership with one of our local favorite garden centers. So that's just trouble. So I have to...
Because now you get to blame your gardening on charity.
on my nephew. Yeah. So now we'll be able to order that stuff and get that taken care of. But
yeah, your sister sent us a message and was like, do not buy all of your stuff yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I laughed and responded and said, I love that you think that happens in one...
Or that this is going to stop me.
One event. Like, this is literally every week.
It's like an all summer long project.
Until there's no plants left at the garden center.
Mm-hmm. Even then, we start going to, like, architectural things.
Yeah,
so, like, sculptures.
Right, then we start buying hardscapes instead of plants. So, more to come on the garden.
It's exciting.
Yeah. We're hoping maybe next year to redo our back patio, which will be a major undertaking. But we are already planning... What is he doing? He's just like pacing on the sofa. Sorry. Focus. We will for sure be ripping some things out. We'll get into some kind of trouble this year.
And
no matter what.
Just like we did a little garden preview video in the fall, as soon as there's some more stuff that's blooming...
Not empty pots.
Yeah. We'll do a little spring tour and show everyone. Because right now the hyacinth are just starting, and then it'll be the daffodils and narcissus, and then
our muscari's coming up.
There's then the tulips.
Hundreds.
So there's between all of those, we planted almost 3,000 bulbs over the course of a couple of years. So it'll be really pretty, and I'll be excited to share it with you.
Yeah. So more to come there. We got to join knitting. Mm-hmm. We did not go Thursday because we were both just really tired.
Work has just been insane.
Yeah. Work and
day job
we'll
work
say vaccine
has been insane.
But we did get to join knitting 2 weeks ago. So it was great to catch up with everybody. We had kind of a small group and got to talk. So it's a lot of fun. A lot going on.
That group is great. And it's really fun and nice to catch up. I just wish we weren't so exhausted by the time Thursday rolled around. So we can join more, but that's okay. They're a lot of fun.
So we have done a little bit of crafting. Mm-hmm. I feel like we've done more like have to craft instead of fun craft. Do you have any finished objects? What have you been working on?
I don't have any finished objects, but before I forget, let's talk about what we're wearing.
Oh.
Because, well, I guess that's technically a finished object. I am wearing the Adventuring Wrap by Amba O'Brien. And I knit mine out of the 2020 Cozy Cabin Chelsea Lux Advent set. And today I wore it with the warmer colors out. There's a bunch of fun, cool colors too. But this wrap is huge. It's a big parallelogram, and I love it. I made the full version. I think there's a 12 mini skein and a 24 mini skein. So the Advent was 24 minis and a whole 100-gram skein. And I just used all the minis. And it was a lot of fun. So that's what I'm wearing. Oh gosh, and my shawl pin just fell off. I'm a mess. What are you wearing?
I am wearing the Pure Joy by Joji Locatelli, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I said that. I didn't knit this. You knit this.
I've knit a couple of those actually.
But I don't have too many spring colored shawls. I don't actually wear a lot of shawls. In fact, as we were getting ready, I was having like a total claustrophobic meltdown trying to get this.
There was an experience that happened.
Yeah. Trying to even remotely get this position, so I'm not going to take it off because that will turn into a whole fit that I have on camera. But you knit this a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. I feel like when I first heard about the pattern is when you were knitting it, so that may have been about the time it came out.
Yeah. And
this is in a Sweet Georgia
Tough Love sock.
Tough Love sock. I knit a pair of socks out of the same yarn.
Mm-hmm. And then the speckle is a Flying Kettle Dye Works.
Yeah,
Joyce. I don't know if Joyce is still dying.
I don't think she is. So a lot of fun colors. Feels very springy.
I want to make another one of those for sure. And I don't know if I want to do like a neutral or maybe some spring.
I feel like
it goes so fast.
Did Kevin and Ray knit Pure Joys, or did Kevin knit 2 of them?
I know Kevin from Needles at the Ready for sure knit.
One of his I loved the colors of. Did it have like green in it? Like a chartreuse?
I don't know.
I don't remember what it looked like now.
I would
just
love to do like
remember
a gray and
liking
black
it.
one.
If only we had yarn. Yeah. Anyway, I love this. It's very springy. I feel very springy today.
I've been wearing this all week.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, now crafting.
Crafting.
You don't have an FO.
I don't have an FO. Well, I mean, technically, it's it's like a hoe. It's a whip. There's some missing components that are vital to its completion.
So he's not done.
No, but he's pretty close.
He's a no.
Yeah.
Not a foe.
So I made another Spring Bunny by Susan B. Anderson, and this was out of her kit.
You're talking to your rabbit in your lap. Our friends are over here.
So this is the Spring Bunny, and so the last one I made, I should have brought it. I pinned the ears down like the pattern recommends, and this one I decided to kind of tack them up, and I feel like it's pretty cute this way. And I also held a strand of white mohair with it, just to give it a little bit of fuzz. Our friend Michelle Woolens and Nosh made one, and she held mohair with hers, and I just loved how it turned out. It's so cute. And so this is actually her yarn. It's in the percolated colorway, because I thought it would be, we talked about it last time about doing a striped sweater on the bunny, and so I did. And I pinned a little charm from Charmed and Dangerous Noelle on the front, and it's a cute little carrot. Oh boy, sorry, Buster just ran into the camera. So this is my bunny. Because I am holding it with a strand of mohair, I did decide to go up a needle size, and so the bunny is significantly larger than the other one.
Yeah, it's probably a third bigger.
Mm-hmm. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. And this one I will for sure knit some sort of carrot or basket or something for it to hold. Although this one's arms I didn't stuff. Unlike the last one where it's just like totally out there. But I've been having a lot of fun making these, and this was actually a kit that someone sent us. I mean, I had purchased a kit prior, but then we had a viewer reach out, and they loved to purchase the Susan B. Anderson kits from Bearded Purl Co. And she had a few that she wasn't going to make, so she sent them to us. And thank you, Christine. And I am so excited to make more of these little guys. But I'm going to try and make like a stuffed animal throughout the year, and then hopefully we can give them to our nieces and nephews for Christmas. I don't know if it'll all be bunnies, although they're pretty cute. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun making these guys. So the main body color is out of the Home Fingering by Bearded Purl Co. I can't remember the color because I'm a terrible knitter. But I think I might make the different sweaters for the kids. Like Ellie likes rainbow, and so that might be fun to do that.
We've got her covered.
Yeah, super cute.
Rainbow will be good on. I like the mohair. It makes a totally different kind of rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun.
It is fun.
Are you going to fold one of the ears down?
I think I might try and tack one little.
One of them was folded yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cute.
Yeah, so I just got to play with it. But again, this is the Spring Bunny by Susan B. Anderson.
Does he need feet? Is that what's left?
The vital part's missing, which I guess are not that vital. He needs feet and a little fluffy bunny butt.
Feet are helpful.
Little tail. And then he's done. It's cute.
I don't know what is happening in our driveway right now, other than we have the screen door open. So if you can...
Oh, bunny down.
Rabbit down. If you can hear our neighbors having a conversation and doing whatever in their cars, sorry about that. It's very distracting for me. I cannot focus today.
I can't either.
You know what happened is we're like an hour earlier than normal.
Mm-hmm.
I would be good like at 7 a.m.
my whole groove is like thrown off.
So you managed to catch me later on Sunday when I'm tired in the afternoon, not when I'm...
But we're earlier than we would have normally podcasted.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm distracted because I'm not asleep.
And see, I'm not with it because I've only had 2 cups of coffee instead of my normal like 12.
Yeah. I'm also writing, oh gosh, everything is starting to bloom. My allergies are in like full attack.
We're now officially in that time of year, and I don't mean to make light of it, but we're playing that game of like allergies or COVID.
I'm not playing that game.
Because the symptoms are pretty much the same for me. Because I get the very like headache, sore throat, like just all sorts of sinus problems, and
I'm just playing the allergy game. I don't know what game you're playing.
Never mind.
I'm just playing I had my face in flowering plants
and dusty leaves
all day yesterday, and had to take a Claritin last night. So that could be the other reason I'm awake, is I'm like 12 hours in instead of 2 hours into my Claritin at this point. But anyway, that's fun. I like your bunny.
Thanks. When I first started knitting and crocheting, which was almost 14 years ago now, I really like fell down that amigurumi, like stuffed animal rabbit hole, and
no pun intended.
I made a ton of stuffed animals, and then I just kind of got away from it, and they're a lot of fun, and they're small, so they go pretty quick.
I've made one bear. That's it. It's not my thing.
I made a couple of bears, and then it was a dragon hat was it Beckett's?
Oh yeah, but that's not a stuffed animal.
Well, no, but it was pretty close, because the whole dragon portion of the hat the tail was stuffed.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like that's accurate. I feel
is.
like you're making things up. Like your allergies versus COVID game. Who are you?
I don't know.
What's happening? Well, more rabbits.
Rabbits.
Apparently they breed and knit like rabbits.
What are you working on? What have you?
I have one finished object that is
Oh.
not knitting, because I was having a personal knitting crisis, and was not inspired
Let's clarify that
to knit
one.
this week. I mean, personal crisis could be accurate too, but I was having...
Typical Tuesday.
I don't know why. Well, I do know why, partially. We were tired, but I didn't feel like doing a lot of knitting this week, and I was upset with my sweater for no reason, it turns out. So I wasn't very inspired to work on it at the beginning of the week. So instead, I decided to sew and completed a sewing project. So I think this is the side I'm calling the front. I made a bag that is the Strappy Bag with Pockets by Caroline Fairbanks Critchfield. This is the pattern here. And this is one that you found online on a website called socanshe.com. And we made a version, well, we made the first one a couple of weeks ago for our friend Michelle for her birthday, and made it out of Harris tweed. Her husband had reached out and was looking for a gift for her. So we made her a bag, and I really liked the way that it turned out. So I decided to make one for myself. I made a couple of adjustments to the pattern. So the one we made for Michelle was the first one, and it was very similar in that it was fabric on the outside and the sides, and then had canvas. It's got canvas on the front and back for little pockets. Yep, front and back on the bottom. It's a little unwieldy. Yeah, and then we had canvas on the bottom. So I made a couple of adjustments to mine. Michelle's came out perfectly. We followed the pattern instructions exactly.
What? I'm just showing
You're like Al over the fence here. Like, what's happening?
Howdy, neighbor.
Oh gosh, I don't know what's into you today. So I made a couple of adjustments based on the bag we made for Michelle, because I wanted mine to be just a little bit bigger. So in the what are you doing? You're entertaining yourself by peering over the bag. whatever.
Oh, it's fine.
Do your thing. So I made my bag 2 inches taller. I didn't make any adjustments to the pocket itself, but I wanted more of this fabric to show. So I made my all of my panels 2 inches taller this direction. And then I made them 1.5 inches deeper, going from 5.5 to 7. So the original bag was a little more rectangular this direction. So mine is the same width, but mine is a little bit taller and a little bit deeper. I wanted to be able to stuff a whole sweater in there, and it came out great. And I made a couple of adjustments based on how we put Michelle's together. I sewed the handles on a little bit differently, or at a different point in the process.
Which I would probably do again.
I would do it still different. Yes, I would do it differently even than what I did, because it was...
Okay. Would you do it after the panels are together?
So the original pattern has you put them on at the very end. And the nice part about that is it's really easy to do because it's at the end and the whole bag is together. I decided, and I'm glad I did, my hand stitching of the handles was terrible on the inside. It just looked awful. So I'm glad that you can't see it. I sewed my handles on before I sewed the lining to the outside.
So you can't see the stitching.
Right, so you can't see any stitching on the inside. So I like the finished look on the inside of not being able to see my stitching. The problem though is when I had to sew the fabric together, and when I had to do the top stitching, I had to fold the handles down. And there's plenty of room in the fabric to do that, but I did scuff up the handles just a little bit. I mean, these are pretty cheap. They're leather, but they're just cheap bag handles that we got on Amazon. So I did scuff them up a little bit in that process. I think if I were to do it again, I would sew the bag together, so the outside to the inside. And then while there was still a large hole in the bottom of the lining, I would sew the handles on at that point so that you could stick your arm into the inside. You'd be able to sew the handle on, have it covered up, but you'd be done sewing the bag at that point. And then all you'd have to do is close the bottom. Does that make sense?
Yes, but that seems a little complicated.
I mean, I don't think it's any different. I don't think it's more complicated than what I did. Right? Louis Vuitton, Hermes. Right.
But it'll do.
It'll do, pig. It'll do.
Where did you get this fabric?
The fabric came from our friend Kathy at Whatnot.
He keeps running the camera.
Sorry about that. I'm like, why are we shaking again?
Buster is a very sweet and gentle cat, but he's a little destructive unintentionally. He's just not spatially aware of his surroundings.
Yeah. And he's become so codependent on you during COVID.
Yeah, that was a bad thing. Looking back on it, I probably should have kept a little more distance between us, because from the moment I work... What?
You're just sitting here like this.
Oh. From the moment I get up and start working to in the evening when I turn off my computer, he is in my lap, right next to me, like all over me. Half the time he's laying on me and like touching my keyboard. And there was one day where I went into the office and I thought he was going to lose his mind. Poor guy. Well, that's okay.
Yeah, he's just become very attached to you. Anyway, so the fabric came from our friend Kathy at Whatnot. She sent it as a little treat inside an order that we had placed. She actually sent a lot of treats.
She sent this as a Christmas gift.
I think wasn't it with one of the paintings that I had purchased though?
No, this was part of a Christmas gift.
Well, a Christmas gift from Kathy, so thank you. And this is beautiful fabric. It's, I think the fabric company is it Starlight? Is the print company, but the artist is Jocelyn Proust, I think is how you say her name, and she's an Australian artist and designer. So the fabric was really special. I wanted to do something. That's part of why I made the bag bigger also, is I knew that the print with the birds was a bigger print. The tweed that we used for Michelle's bag it wasn't a herringbone pattern, but it didn't really have a pattern. So all of the fabric was the same. And I wanted to make sure to get the birds in the print. And I'm actually glad that I did, because you can only see 1 or 2 complete birds on the front and maybe only 1 on the back. I think you get kind of one whole bird on each side. So I'm glad that I made it a little bit larger to see that.
And this was Michelle's.
Yeah, so you can see the dimensions are just a little bit different. I don't think we took a picture from the side.
No. So we used a mustard tweed and then kind of a taupe coordinating canvas.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. It was a nice little project, pretty easy to put together. We forgot until the very end, we, as in me, forgot to put the pockets on the inside of the bag. I was relying on you to read me the instructions, and
so
we had a breakdown in communication at that point.
So you were downstairs putting this together and like coming up and asking me what to do next, and I forgot when I cut everything else out that I didn't cut out the pockets for the inside. So I was just telling you like the next steps and what to do and how to like keep moving forward, and then totally forgot about the pockets. I'm gonna go keep talking. I'm gonna go close that door.
Since apparently now we're mowing the lawn, you know, it never fails. So I'm really happy with how the bag turned out. I would definitely make another one. I'm actually not upset that it doesn't have pockets at all on the inside. I think it'll be just fine. And if I really, I'm not going to try and take it apart to put a pocket in at this point, because that would be a lot of extra work, because that panel is sewn in to the side seams. But overall, I thought it was a really fun project. We bought a 3-pack of handles, and so we've got one more set of handles. We actually have some more fabric from Kathy that's in a really fun black and red and blue floral print. So I might even make a bag out of that. We had a full yard of the fabric, and I think we might have used, it was less than half a yard total of the bag fabric. And again, if you had kind of a limited quantity, you could always do a contrast fabric on the side. You could do a fabric on the bottom. You could do a lot. And then I don't think I said, but the pockets and then the bottom of the bag are canvas.
Yeah. And you could really do each panel a different fabric if you wanted.
Yeah, you could make it scrappy. You could do whatever you wanted. Really a very straightforward sewing project. And the fabric itself is interfaced with a
sounds like a
foam fusible interfacing, almost like a 1/4 inch foam. So it's really sturdy. It stands up on its own. I mean, you were able to see when we were holding it that it's nice structurally. So I'm excited. And then it has a little magnetic snap on the inside that you can use to close it if you want. But I'll definitely make another one.
And this was really our first time. I say our because we definitely worked on the first one together. Making a bag of this, I don't know if I want to say like intricacy or like structurally. Like our project bags are relatively simple compared to the steps and pieces that were in this bag.
It's funny how so, I mean, we've made
more
than 1,000 of
project bags.
Our project bags at this point. One of the big differences in the construction has to do with the fact that our bags have a zipper and this bag doesn't. And so the way you construct them is totally different, because in ours, because of the zipper, like it's all centered around the zipper. And this one, not having one, just has a different construction. And we don't have, our handle goes into a seam. It's not added on separately. So it was fun. I really enjoyed it. You found this pattern online. Was this a paid pattern?
So the pattern itself is free, and I think it's part of 20 different tote bags on, what is it, Sew Can She?
Sew Can
is the website. But the PDF printable version is $2.
Oh.
So I paid the $2 for the printable PDF, which doesn't have, because it's part of like a blog post, so you'd have to scroll through everything to get to the meat and the bones of the pattern. But instead, I just got the PDF version of it and printed that out.
It was nice to have a paper copy.
I mean, even then, it's still, 8 pages?
There's a lot of instructions. There's a lot of instructions and pictures.
But it's really simple.
Yeah.
And don't go from memory by making it once.
Yeah.
But it's relatively simple to put together. It's very straightforward. The pattern walks you through and tells you what to do for everything.
Yeah.
It's really well written.
You don't need anything fancy. There's no fancy stitching.
Well, and you don't even need leather handles. So or the magnetics closure, that's optional, and so are the handles. I mean, I think in the pattern it has you do an option for like if you did cloth handles or fabric handles versus the leather as well. So you can really play with it and have some fun.
Yeah, and it was very easy to modify, just the dimensions of some of the pieces to make it a little taller and deeper.
Yeah.
That's my only finished object.
What have
you been working on? You have an in-work project.
A work in progress.
A work in progress.
So I don't remember where I saw this. I was talking with my friend Eric from Sticks Plus Twine, and we were talking about different DK weight shawls and came across the Paris Toujours by Isabel Kramer. And it's one that I have had saved in my Ravelry queue forever. I think ever since it came out. It's just a really fun...
Didn't Kevin just knit one in gray? Yeah.
Yep. So it's a really fun basic shawl, and then Kevin from Needles at the Ready was also knitting one. So I thought, okay, well, now that this is top of mind and I want a simple DK shawl, let's do it. So I think this.
Do I need to move out of the way?
No, but do you want
to? This is the portion where
I poke
people are entertained while I dodge needles.
There we go. So it's a really fun, simple pattern. I mean, after the first couple of sections, I had it memorized. It's a garter stitch border on one edge with an applied I-cord. And then after you do these lace and garter stitch panels, I need you to hold this. Then there's a large garter stitch band at the very end. But it's a lot of fun. And so I am working on my third repeat. They're out of 5. And then there's the big garter stitch border. But the texture is really great. Okay. Give me that. Sorry. I don't know if that's showing up really well. But so this is the color. I'm just totally scatterbrained. I'm sorry. This is a DK weight, a superwash merino. I'm using our merino DK base out of the moss colorway, which is one of my all-time favorite greens. And I think it'll take a little bit into a 4th skein. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to try and see if I can fudge it out of 3. But so this is where I'm at into the 3rd repeat, and I've got this much of my first ball left. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I would definitely make another one of these, even in maybe slightly variegated. I don't know if I would do too crazy, like speckles, just because there's a lot happening in the texture itself already, but I feel like it's going to be a fun...
I think it could work well in a speckled yarn, but it is nice for a solid color or something a little tonal, because it's got a lot of texture that you get to see. I mean, even in these, like the little lace... Eyelet rose, you still see a lot of the stitch, which is nice. It's got a lot of structure and texture, so I think it could highlight a lot of different yarn types.
But I'm really enjoying it, and I'm glad I started to make one. I could definitely see making this as a gift for someone as well. It's a good size, and I mean, out of DK, it goes relatively quick.
What size needle are you knitting on?
That's a great question. Let's see if I can read this. An 8, a US 8, or a 5mm needle.
Okay.
And you could probably... I think there's also a fingering weight version, now that I'm remembering, in the pattern. So it's the same pattern, but just more measurements, more repeats with fingering weight, and I think on a 6 or a 5,
okay,
if I'm not mistaken.
That reminds me a lot of thinking of like a DK or worsted weight shawl, the hipster.
Yes.
Hohi's pattern. I think I like as somebody who doesn't wear a lot of shawls just for an accessory, like I wear them in the winter under coats, but I like to wear shirts and sweaters and not have a lot of bulk, just kind of hanging out around my neck all day. But I like the weight of the DK or worsted shawls, but it's nice, like, the hipster has those elongated stitches that cross, so it gives it a
Mhm.
little bit of breathability.
Mhm.
Kind of same thing here. It's nice to not have something that's just
Right.
900 yards of
And that
DK
applied
yarn.
I-cord border is just so great.
That's nice.
And it's just a really awesome finishing technique on some knit items, especially shawls. And it helps create, you know, that nice, clean, stretchy edge, as long as you make sure to not do it too tight on the edges. But the way that this pattern has it written into it, there's a couple of different ways to do, I feel like, the applied I-cord. You know, some of them have you slip the 3 stitches, and then on the next row you kind of wrap and turn. This is totally different. This is, I think, much simpler than that, where you just slip the first stitch and then knit into the back loop of the next one. It's great. I highly recommend this pattern. And again, that's the Paris Toujours by Isabel Kramer.
I like it.
Me too. Definitely like evening potato chip, like what are we watching on TV that I don't necessarily need to pay attention to what I'm knitting.
Cool.
So yeah.
Are you knitting anything else?
Technically, no. Yes. Maybe. So I have the yarn wound. So you saw in my bunny, the sweater was the percolated colorway from Woolens and Nash. Well, I wound that up into a ball to make socks and then stole a little bit of it to make a sweater. But so this is the Michelle's Superwash Tarhi base. And I'm going to knit just a simple pair of socks out of it. And this is the coordinating mini that came with it. And it's coffee themed.
That's a fingering.
Yes. Right? Mm-hmm. It's a very plump fingering, but fingering nonetheless. And I will cast these on today.
I mentioned that because you've shown, I think you've made 2 or 3 pairs of socks out of her DK self-striping.
Yes, lately. This is fingering. I do believe she is dyeing up some DK though. Self-striping. I just had a total...
I don't know what's happening to you today. I'm uncomfortable sitting here. I feel like I need a shield.
I'm highly undercaffeinated. So, yeah, I will cast on those, and it's just going to be a simple, I think probably a stockinette pair of socks. Just looking to get some sock knitting done. What about you? Do you have any other works in progress?
I have one.
Let's keep this train wreck rolling.
Right. The train is off the tracks. So I have been working on my Wixom sweater. Not as much drama today, not as much actual drama, a little bit of pretend drama. So when I showed you the sweater last, I was in the color work. Hold on, it's a little bit unwieldy. I've got 4 balls of yarn and needles. So I think when I showed it last time 2 weeks ago, I was somewhere around here in the yoke. And if you watched that episode, you'll remember that I had ripped the whole thing out maybe 2 Fridays ago. So I had, why are you laughing? Because I ripped it out?
Yeah.
Oh. My adorable mother, I don't think I shared this last time. My mother, who is the nicest person on earth, for real. When I told her I ripped my sweater out, she said, "Are you just going to knit all of them twice?" Thanks, Mom. Maybe. You know what? I just might, if that's what it takes.
You know what's going to happen?
I'm not doing drugs.
She's going to watch this, and then she's going to call you and say, "I didn't mean it in a bad way."
That's not what I meant. I know. She really is precious. She was laughing though. She worries on my behalf that like I will have wasted my valuable free time, or be upset that I had to rip it out. She doesn't appreciate that I have no problem just snatching a whole sweater off the needles. So I finished the yoke. If you remember last time, the reason I ripped it out is because my yoke was very, very large, just relative to my actual chest measurement.
You almost looked like some sort of lizard because it was just like it really flared out a lot.
So I'll pause really quickly. This is the Wixom sweater by Jill Zielinski, also known as Knitterella. So I had reached out to Jill, and she was so kind and gave me some suggestions. So what I ended up doing when I reknit the sweater was went down a size on the yoke. And so I knit the yoke for the 38.5-inch chest circumference. And then I combined it with the stitch count on the body for the 42.4, I think is its official size, which is the original size that I needed and the size I would need for my chest measurement. So a couple of things that I did, it worked out really well. I had not combined two sizes in a yoked sweater before, so I was a little unsure how I was going to do it. And the way I decided to do it, when I got to the very bottom of the color work, you knit until you're at a certain length from the cast on edge, and then you divide for the sleeves. So what I did at that point is I think there was a 32 stitch difference across something like 260 or 280 something stitches. And it ended up being an evenly divided number. So I think I just evenly spaced increases into the yoke at that point to have the stitch count for the size that I needed. And I was hoping it wouldn't create like a weird flare or pucker or ruffle in the fabric at all. And it didn't. So I started with that. I ended up knitting maybe like an extra ½ inch, something to like 12 inches from the cast on edge instead of 11.5, which is what was recommended for the size. I knit about an inch into the body and then tried it on, and it fit, but it was a little snug under the armpit. So I ended up taking it back out.
Snug as in it sat really high in your
Right.
armpit.
It sat high from the cast on edge. And I think, again, that was just a function of me knitting a much smaller size yoke than what I originally was knitting. So I ended up knitting an extra inch past where I did the first time. So I knit a total of 13 inches from the back cast on edge down to the sleeve separation, which turned out to be perfect. It was great. So the combining of the two sizes actually worked out really well. There were a lot of comments on the last video for people that had either had similar problems with a yoked sweater or opportunities to just better match their body to the fit. This is a learning experience for me, for sure, with this just being my second yoke sweater. I feel like a raglan is a little bit easier to kind of figure out what's happening along the way. But, a yoke kind of goes from a circle to the shape of your body in the magic of folding it closed. So nothing at all wrong with the pattern. In fact, the pattern is really well written, very easy to follow. I've been very happy with it. But when I tried it on the second time, well, I guess really the third time after the second sleeve separation of this new size, I was feeling a little bit funny. And when you have something stockinette on the needles, like it curls up. I think we're ripping all the stitches off that side of the sweater. I'll let me
put those back
you,
on.
you can work on that while you're over there. So I tried it on a week ago, and I was just feeling a little bit funny about it, which discouraged me. And I think that's part of why I didn't knit anything on the sweater for the majority of the week. But then I picked it up and I said, you know what, I'm just going to keep going. So I knit probably 4 or 5 inches between Friday and yesterday. And then I tried it on last night and it fits amazingly. It actually, it looked really good. In fact, it really just kind of reinvigorated me to want to spend some time on the sweater. But I love it. I highly recommend the knit. There's a matching hat if you've not seen the hat pattern that's in the same color work. And she's got options for 2 and 3 color hats, which is really nice. So if you wanted a hat and sweater that matches. I'm knitting this out of the Wool and Feather Farm Shetland in the natural, it's the natural or Shetland black and the Shetland gray. And I'm holding them together with a skein of undyed mohair with the gray, and then with a skein of mohair that you dyed to kind of match the Shetland. The one comment that I will make, let's see if you can see it, because this is a natural undyed Shetland yarn, it might be a little bit hard to see here on the camera, but gosh, the camera looks really funny today. Wonder what's going on. I am holding, right now I have 2 balls of Shetland and 2 balls of mohair wound up, and I'm holding them together and I'm alternating every row. And I started that just under the color work. The Shetland is,
it's like a silvery brown, black, gray.
well, and we have the same color, but from 2 different
clips.
And one is darker than the other. Like one is more gray and one is more chocolatey, and the yarn doesn't look the same. One of them is very even and just very smooth in the ply, and the other is a little bit more thick and thin.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I needed to do, I'm very happy with the way the sweater is turning out. It does have some texture. You know, if I were knitting it, you know, you can see like there's some little lumps and bumps where there's a thick spot or something that's a little bit felted in the yarn, but I've just embraced that as part of the natural, you know, it's natural small farm.
It's beautiful.
Shetland. It really is a lot of fun, but that is the one thing that I really noticed both times that I had to rip back. I really had to alternate skeins, and I don't have any unwound skeins. Well, I'm not even going to try and go over there and dig it out, but you can see the two are very different. Mm-hmm. So I've just been taking one, I'm alternating to make sure I'm always using one skein of each to make sure that I have enough. And I think the resulting fabric, when you look at it, you can't tell
in real life, it's so even.
Yeah, you can't tell that there's two different skeins. Now, when I did it the first time and just changed from one to the other, it was like color block. I mean, you could see a clear band where one skein, you know, started and the other skein stopped. One of the reasons I decided to hold the mohair with it is I was thinking that that would balance out some of the natural variation a little bit and allow me to not have to alternate skeins, but that turned out to not be true, which is fine. It's no trouble at all. I've just got two of them loose in my project bag and the other two are in a little Ziploc bag so that I can hold them together and keep everything untangled. But it's knitting up really well. I'm super excited. I should be able to get the body done maybe by next weekend. And I think the only modification I know I'm going to make is I am not knitting the 1x1 twisted rib on the bottom.
Why not?
Because I hate knitting twisted rib. I hate knitting through the back loop on a small needle. And because I'm holding like a Shetland that's thick and thin a little bit with the mohair, it is just such a pain to knit through the back loop. Now, I did it on the collar for two reasons. Number one, it's up here and it's in a cream silver colored yarn. So you can actually see that it's knit through the back loop and that it's a twisted rib. So I did it for the collar. I did it on the hat.
Will you do it for the sleeves, the cuffs?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
No. And I say that the reason I made this decision, number one, because I don't want to do, like, I don't think I can handle 1x1 rib knit through the back loop, like on the bottom of the sweater. It's a lot for me. But my hat,
as if the whole sweater hasn't been an exercise.
No, it's okay. Utility. No, it's not that I don't like the way it looks. I do, but in my Wixom hat, which it's probably underneath those other two hats. I knit
it's upstairs.
I knit the brim of the hat in the twisted rib, and in the dark brown Shetland in that natural black, you can't tell that it's a twisted rib because the yarn is so fuzzy. Mm-hmm. And because I'm holding this with mohair, I feel like it's a lot of extra work for something that no one would notice either way.
Sure.
I don't think you'd ever see, I mean, if you were literally looking at it this close, you would see that I did it, but I'm just lazy and I don't think you're going to be able to tell. So I'm going to make it easier on moi.
Okay.
But otherwise, with any luck, I will be at least on a sleeve by the time we see you next. TBD. Otherwise, I had a sock on the needles that I showed last time. I haven't touched it.
We haven't done a ton of knitting the last 2 weeks.
We did a lot of sewing.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot of sewing to get ready for this update. We had Michelle's bag. I made my bag. So, plus, work, life.
And sometimes you just don't feel like it.
Whatever.
And that's okay.
I'm not a machine. I'm just me.
We should have that put on a t-shirt.
I mean...
That's like, yes, I sew, and no, I won't hem your pants.
Oh my gosh. Matthew's sweater.
Mm-hmm.
Or shirt. I mean, it's funny having these videos. There is not pressure from you, our lovely friends, but there's that moment. I mean, like today where we're literally just rambling.
That's how okay. But that's how I ended up with a second bunny. I'm like, I need something that first I'm going to enjoy working on. That's going to be quick and simple.
But there's a pressure and a guilt. Like, I don't have anything to show.
For me, it's not a guilt so much as it is like an encouraging
Anxiety. Pressure.
I don't know.
Like a kidney stone.
No, not like a kidney stone at all. We'll just say encouraging. It's encouraging to keep me going on projects.
It's tempting to say something like, I'm sorry I haven't done more. But it's not like that.
No. Anyway. That's all that I have
That's
for
it.
knitting, crafting. Do you have any acquisitions?
I do. I have 2.
Okay, so we're officially moving away from crafting into the acquisitions.
We might.
And then we'll talk
might land this plane before an hour and 45 minutes.
I don't know about that.
I'm going on the record at 55 minutes saying that, and 30 minutes from now, we're still going to be talking.
So we'll talk about some acquisitions, and then at the very end, we'll talk about some shop stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're not here for that, we love you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you next time. Otherwise, stick around.
Is this new?
Oh, yeah.
This is yours.
Technically, they're both mine. So,
I mean, they're your... Oh, yeah. What I meant is they're your, like, things you purchased.
oh, my purchases,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, we share them. So these are 2 brand new mugs from Erin Killian Pottery, and I'll be sure to link those in the Ravelry show notes. And this was an update that she had, I don't know, maybe a month or 2 ago. But she's been doing some of these fun drippy mugs, and this dark one was really what got me.
Is this the red one or the brown one? So I randomly this morning, here I am drinking out of this mug that I have no idea where it came from because I didn't buy it. And all of a sudden on my Instagram, I see a mug that looks just like this. And I was like, oh, look, apparently I'm following her on Instagram now. And she posted one that looked just like this. And she was asking a question. She did the top in red instead of
I think this is brown.
Tan, but the colors were very similar. Like her picture didn't have them side by side, so I would have to see a comparison.
I think this is the tan, not the red.
They're very pretty. They're a nice size. They're very comfortable to hold and very nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of mugs, thanks to your new habit.
Okay, you cannot blame all of this on me. We're gonna rope Michelle and Sarah into this as well, because they are the worst mug shopping enablers I know. Although, I also take them down with me.
So your new pastime of buying handmade mugs.
We're in the mug club.
Has caused us to hang some new mug racks in the kitchen because we don't have any cabinet space for them anymore. And I bought you 3 as an early birthday present to hold 9 mugs, which turned out to be great, but not enough.
It's fine.
Plus,
but a couple of them are mugs that we have had for a while.
Plus, I found this one in the cabinet this week. I don't even know how long it's been in the house. I mean, that one I saw.
They both arrived at the same time.
Okay, well, this one still had the tag on it and was in the cabinet. And I was like, where did this come from? So, long story short, I had to buy you, as another early birthday present, 3 more mug racks.
My birthday's on the 23rd.
And
so,
then
I mean, it's pretty close.
Cut you off.
Oh, I almost just spilled my coffee on my pants.
No more mugs. When we run out, then I'm shipping you to Sarah or Michelle, both of whom said they would take you.
I would happily bring my mug collection to Sarah or Michelle's.
You come with a lot of
stuff.
I was going to say baggage, but it's more like paraphernalia. You have a lot of supplies. Someone who I will not name publicly in case they've not ever said this out loud, but one of our friends made the comment that one of her husband's hobbies is professionally outfitting himself for a new hobby.
I feel that.
Which is you. Like, oh, I think I might want to do this. I'm going to spend $2,000 buying supplies just in case.
But there's something to be said about outfitting yourself with all of the supplies that you may or may not need before you start.
You don't have like a dipping your toe in phase.
No, I'm not like, let's buy a kit and try it. I'm like, let's buy an entire cabinet's worth of supplies that I don't know what I'm going to do with if I may or may not like this. And then we'll try it.
Yeah. I feel that. So more mug racks coming soon.
I should have been an art teacher. I feel like that would have been a good career path for me.
Okay. So acquisitions.
Anywho.
These are your things that you've been buying.
Yeah.
I have 2 skeins of yarn. Shocker, people. Rainbow self-striping sock yarn.
I love that we have totally like turned the tables, and now you're the one that's being enabled by all of our lovely fans, and buying yarn. So there's yarn that comes every week, and it's not for me anymore.
The difference, though, is I buy a skein of self-striping sock yarn at a time, and you buy like a sweater quantity of it at a time when you get enabled.
I love that you're trying to still pin this one on me.
No, I'm just saying, I don't feel so bad. You know what? I snorted. I almost spit my tea out. We were watching Needles at the Ready, and Kevin and Ray made the comment. They were like, what did Justin say? Which is always dangerous. Like, there's no telling what came out of my mouth.
There's a lot that could come out of your mouth.
Yeah. And they said, at least we don't do drugs.
I mean, it's true.
In fact, I made a comment. I can't believe nobody said it. I made a comment about you taking gummies, like mood elevating gummies.
They're not.
They're like from Target.
Yeah.
They're just like chamomile and saffron, not like marijuana or pharmaceutical gummies. Anyway,
I believe it's CBD or THC,
whatever.
not marijuana gummies.
It could be.
Although, depending on the crowd, really. Anywho, that's going down a wrong path.
Yeah. Why did we record today?
I don't know.
So, at least it's not drugs. There's my comment. But this is a skein. I don't even remember. Did this one come from you? Like, did you show me this one? You don't even remember which one it is.
Mm-mm.
But I think you...
I tried to buy one initially, and then I forgot about it, and then someone recommended it to you.
Because then I immediately went to the Etsy shop and favorited the item, and I saw it when it was back in stock. So this is Tia's Terrific Threads, and this is a new dyer to me. It's a skein of... Sorry, I'm reading the tag here. It's the Strong Sock Base, 400 yards, 100 grams finger weight. It's an 80/20 superwash BFL nylon. I actually totally forgot that. I like it even more now. And this is the colorway If You're Happy. So it's a full rainbow, and I really like it a lot. In the sample photo of the sock, they had this rainbow paired with it wasn't fully like a tan like this, but almost. It may have been very similar to it wasn't undyed. It had a little bit of a parchment kind of brown beige hue to it, but that's what the heel and toe in the sock were. And I loved that combo with the rainbow. So I'm excited to knit something.
The colors are so saturated.
This. Oh, they're beautiful. The colors are great. I love too when they're really saturated, but a little bit tonal.
Mm-hmm.
I like that combination. And I feel like a lot of self-striping sock yarn dyers dye that way. So I'm really looking forward to knitting with this. Also, I don't expect anyone to send me yarn like this. I appreciate how much work goes into...
What you can't see is there's a basket full of nomadic yarn who also does self-striping and kind of wraps it, or used to. I mean, she still does.
In the little gobstopper ball.
Uh-huh. Up over in that
It's
corner.
a lot of work to do this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. I mean, it looks really cool for self-striping yarn, but I'm excited to knit with that.
It's really fun, too. I feel like it's even more motivation when you're like, oh, I'm almost done with the end of like this stripe and like wrap, and then it like pops off, and then you're ready to knit another one. And
I can't tell you how many times I've come down here over the years and grabbed one of Ashley's skeins to knit with, simply because I don't have to wind it. I'm like, what do I want to knit next? And I see a skein still hanged up, and then I see this, and I go for these every time. So that's exciting. And then one of our lovely viewers, who I should have gone back and looked, but I don't even remember the video now, but it's fairly recently, maybe in the last 2 or 3, recommended a dyer, Timber Yarns, and yep, they are Canadian dyer. So this is another new to me dyer. This is a self-striping yarn. So it's probably a little bit hard to tell, but it's kind of a rainbow, but it's separated by brown. And the color... Oh, is Monster Cookie. So it's inspired by the cookies that have like the M&M type candies in them. And that is exactly what it looked like in the knit up sample. And of course, I immediately looked at the comment, went to the website. They had this.
so, I mean, with that, you're combining at least 3 of the things we enjoy.
Cookies.
Cookies, rainbow self-striping yarn,
And cookies.
And cookies. It also came with a recipe card.
It came in the neatest little package. I was kind enough to take it out of the package because it was that really crinkly cellophane, like plastic bag. But it came with a cookie progress keeper, which was included. It wasn't formally a kit, but it did say that it came with this. Had a really nice handwritten note on the inside, and then a recipe for monster cookies, which was a lot of fun. And then also included, I think, was a little package of hot chocolate mix.
Confession time, I have never had a monster cookie. What? And I live in the Midwest. That's practically sacrilegious.
You're not tempted by chocolate, though.
This is true. Okay, way to just throw me out on, the line to dry there. I'm not a fan of chocolate.
I mean, you eat chocolate.
I will, but it's not.
But given the option of chocolate or anything else,
it's always anything else.
You would pick anything else.
Mm-hmm. That's like growing up. I don't know if I've told this story before, but just about every one of my birthdays, I couldn't have a vanilla or a white or a plain sheet cake. It always had to be marble to appease the other people at my birthday party.
Yeah, because you're a monster.
Yeah, I just don't like chocolate, okay?
You don't prefer chocolate over other things. You'll eat chocolate.
Yeah. But would I rather have like a plain vanilla?
I'm trying to defend you here. I'm trying to bring
a plain
you
vanilla
back.
or a white cake versus marble? Yes, I would. Marble is not my favorite. But
I do have to say that very randomly, thinking about cakes, one of my favorite cake recipes is in the America's Test Kitchen cake book. And it's their white cake with vanilla frosting. And it's really good. I liked it better than the yellow cake. The white cake was better. And it's made with a reverse creaming method, so it has a really tender crumb and a really fascinating texture.
A wonderful segue into an acquisition that I had.
So here's my yarn. By the way, I'm sure you noticed this, but these are they're probably dyed. Yeah, 2 single skeins dyed at the same time for matching socks. So
which is always fun.
Easy way to get matching socks, but I'm excited to try this too. We're officially out of room in the self-striping bin.
I mean, yeah, you might be able to squeeze it in there.
You can't see, but we're out of room in the self-striping basket.
Looks like someone's gonna have to knit some socks.
Now, most of the nomadic.
That was all me.
Was your hobby.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Anyway, so great transition into a cake theme. So I have been really enjoying finding
buying cookbooks.
Yes, but also using them. But shush. Finding new cookbooks and like different recipe authors that I am not familiar with. And this is actually one that we saw that was recommended by Claire Saffitz from Dessert Person. She's been doing videos of different recipes, kind of walking through her cookbook. And she recommends a new recipe author at the end of every episode. And this was one of them. And this is really cool because it's all like 1 layer snack cake, sheet cakes, like whatever you would call them. But what?
I will hold it so that you don't have to talk like this.
It's all 1 layer. So what's nice about that is, I mean, it's just us in this house. So there's no need to have like a 3-layer cake. It would take us forever to eat it, and then I would be sick of it.
There's even bars.
Coffee and bars. But I've made 2 things out of that now. And one of them was a orange poppy seed. Maybe, have I only made 1? I don't know. But anyways, it's a really fun cookbook. All of the recipes look really great, and they're small, single-layer cakes that are quick and easy to put together.
You were going to make the carrot cake
I was.
out of here, but you made a different one.
Because I was too lazy to go to the grocery store to... So I also bought Claire Saffit's Dessert Person cookbook, and I made her carrot cake recipe. But I had to pare it down.
Because it's like a 3-layer,
it's like a gigantic
cake.
But amazing cake. So highly recommend that one too. But that's my acquisition. That and the mugs. And that's all that I've got. Should we talk some shop news?
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure. So we had an update on the 10th of April.
Yesterday.
And, yes, yesterday. And there's still some yarn left. I'll just kind of highlight some of my favorite colors. This is still from our, I guess you would call it a spring collection. It's all kind of spring and gardening themed. But the colors are as follows. This is terracotta. And this is
I was going to say one of your favorites, but I've just noticed the 4 that you brought out
are my favorites. This was an exclusively DK update. I didn't have time to dye up any of the others, but there will be more on different bases in the next update. So the first is terracotta, which is a fun kind of rusty brown orange. Then
terracotta color.
Yes. Then the next is garden gloves, which is a great tan. And then the moss, which is probably my favorite of all of them. And then the next one is tulip, and it's a colorway that happened by accident, and I love the result. So the dyes, initially, I did not mix them as thoroughly as I should have, and it did this kind of like breaking, but I love the result. So then I did it again on the following skeins and was able to repeat it. And so it's this lovely blushy pink, and there's a couple of spots of deeper kind of hot pink and purple, but then there's these almost like micro itty bitty speckles, you can see them there, of a kind of grape color.
I didn't notice really it fun at first because it's
really subtle.
The speckling is so tiny and so spread out through the yarn that I think it's so pretty, but it's not something that I would have even thought. Like, I don't even know that I would call it a speckled yarn, but it has intentional speckles in it.
It's not.
It's like specks.
Speckled. It's like flecks. Like it's dusted.
It is a really pretty. It's a pretty pink though.
Those are some of the fun yarns, and my favorite part about dyeing the yarn and shipping it out is seeing all the different combos of colors that people have, especially across the different bases, and just trying to think of like what they're making or what I can make out of those color combos. And it's just really exciting and very inspiring. But again, I just want to thank everyone for supporting the shop and just how lovely everyone is and all of the kind words that people have to say. So we will have another shop update on April 28th at 7 p.m. So I think what we're going to start doing is 2 updates, smaller updates a month, one on the weekend and then one kind of midweek in the evening, just to kind of even it out a little bit and let people that may not be free on one day have a chance to get some stuff on the next day. And of course, we will have all of the tweed bags in the shop updates for many updates to come. And I have ordered a couple of kilos of tweed fabric from the Isle of Harris and Lewis. So there's plenty more coming, and we will happily make those bags and continue making the bags and finding fun new color combos with the Harris tweed and the canvas, as long as you guys want to get them. So
we had 27.
There was only 27 in this last update, and they sold out pretty fast.
Like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Fast.
So we're trying to make them as fast as we can, and I've got enough tweed to do another batch on the 28th, and then hopefully the other fabric will be here by then. If it's not, I'm afraid we might have a riot on our hands.
Thank you for your patience.
Yes, thank you for your patience.
We would love to post like 200 of them, but then it would take us weeks.
Right. So the way that we do it with the the smaller updates, we can get the stuff out of the house and like out the door and shipped off much faster and quicker than if we have like the large mass updates. So they might be a little bit tricky to navigate and shop, and I understand that that's frustrating. I personally, when I'm one of those buyers that gets caught in like a frantic Etsy update, it can be a little discouraging, but just stick with us. We'll have them probably for many, many months to come.
We ordered
a lot of different colors too.
So many colors. I don't know how we managed to not get a green.
I don't know.
the first time.
I don't know why that slipped my mind. But so we've ordered a bunch of fun greens. There's a really great orange, kind of pumpkin orange with turquoise. There's some neutrals coming. I think is there a pink?
Probably.
Pink.
We ordered a lot.
Red. Yeah, there's a lot coming. So
I just kept getting large purchase notifications on my phone.
So have no fear. We will have more tweed bags in the shop to come. And then another thing that's coming up at the end of this month, early May, Woolens and Ash and I are doing another collaboration kit. And it will kind of be around spring, summer themed. The inspiration is zinnias. So we have a really kind of, I don't want to say eclectic, but it's a really neat kit that we'll be having in Michelle's shop. And there's going to be like flower seeds and gorgeous napkins and yarn that Michelle has dyed. We're going to be making a bag. There's going to be a lot of great fun stuff in this kit. And it's kind of a great kickoff to summer and all of the beautiful things that will be coming. So just keep your eyes out for that. Be on the lookout, and we'll talk more about that as soon as we've got things a little bit more finalized. But it should be a really fun kit. I'm excited about it. So other than that, I think that's all that I've got to talk about this week. Do you have anything else?
I don't have any other knitting. Maybe future knitting.
Future knitting?
Do you have anything on your list? I know this is very impromptu.
It is.
I mean, you have an ongoing. You're very committed to starting projects. So you always have a lot of things, that you want to jump into. I
want to finish my DK shawl and start a spring shawl. And that's probably the only, and my socks that I just talked about. Other than that, I'm not sure I have any big projects in the pipeline.
I have some of Cherie's yarn.
Kirby Werby.
Mm-hmm. That I want to cast on. Oh my gosh, I have so many sock things happening. We're not even going to talk about my pattern situation at the moment, but I have a lot of socks that I want to knit, more socks than time, like specific yarns that I'm excited to cast on. I've got one of Kirby Werby's that I want to cast on. I want to cast on the Impeachment Lemonade Shop socks. I'm really excited about that one. I have a cabled sock that's in my queue that I want to cast on. And then I've not knit a shawl in a long time. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been a while since I've knit a shawl. And I want to knit, what's the Stephen West one that has the zigzags?
So Thunder and Lightning.
Thunder and Lightning. I'm trying to persuade someone to dye yarn for me to knit that.
Spoiler alert, that's me.
Yeah, in case persuade someone wasn't apparent.
I just asked what color. I just needed a color.
Which I told you 2 weeks ago.
I can't even remember what you told me this morning.
It's okay. So I want to knit that. And then what's the other one? Like this, Stephen West doesn't have too many triangular shawls.
I feel like Bloom was in the name.
Bloom, that might be. I don't know what it is. I should like have some sort of information. But there's two of Stephen's shawls that I've been wanting to knit for a while. And so those are on my list. And then I have like 7 sweaters that I have queued up to start. And I totally reached out to Vincent. Did you see his post about the Henley
that was
sweater? I'm calling it a
Max
Henley.
Or Vincent that had it?
Vincent.
Oh, because I saw Max post it.
Oh, well, he posted it, and I was like,
or maybe he posted the yoked one. They've got some sweater patterns coming out that I want to knit so bad. I
totally reached out to him, and I was like, I would love to test knit this. And he was probably like, go away, you're crazy. Also, I don't have time for you to knit it, rip it out and knit it again, is probably what he was thinking. But he was very sweet and responded. So he's got a new pattern that will be, it's about to be coming out, I think, soon for test knitting. Mm-hmm. And that's by Dells.
And it's a fingering weight sweater. Almost like a long sleeve Henley.
Did he say that in the... It looks fingering weight, but I don't think he provided that level of detail in the post. Sure. Just kind of a nice picture of the sweater kind of from here to here. And it was a raglan construction, but then had an open like a split, not collar, but kind of, and then it had a little, almost like a shirt collar, like a Henley, and kind of a Henley opening only.
Almost like a Mandarin collar.
Yeah, like a button band with no buttons. But, not a Mandarin collar in the sense that it comes up, but, it kind of had a neckline, almost like a collared shirt or a t-shirt or something like that. Just so cool.
Like a Henley without buttons.
Yeah. Thank you. Henley without buttons. Vincent,
Let's condense
I'm
that
sorry.
one.
Just I apologize if you happen to see this and you're like,
What is he
wow,
talking
that's not
about?
at all what it is. So thanks for giving it a bunch of terrible description here. But I'm excited about that. I even loved in his photo, it looked like there was...
There's like a top color.
I think it was 3 colors.
A middle that where you... I guess blend.
So that
fade.
it looked marled.
So
So,
it would have to be-
I was wondering if it was fingering held double, because then there was a marl,
Vincent
then the
could
middle
just tell
color,
us.
and a marl. Right? I could just have
Instead of us guessing.
kept my mouth shut and not said anything about it.
But it looks like a great pattern, so that's fun.
So I wanted it. I have so many projects.
And
in my
now
head.
that the weather's finally starting to get nicer.
We'll have no time to knit because we'll be in the garden.
Oh, I was going to say we can knit outside.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Whatever.
Next thing you know, we're going to be ripping up our patio.
No, we're not doing that this year.
Just the part for the blueberry bushes. Who knows what we're going to do?
That seems like a...
Friends, come on over anytime. Instead of we'll work for food, you can come over and shop for yarn in the basement and help us rip out our patio.
I'm okay with that. Anywho.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
We should wrap this up.
Yes, we should.
It's not getting anywhere good.
It's not getting any better.
This plane is lost. Lost at sea.
The train has now been derailed and is like sliding down the side of the mountain. Ready to just into a lake or something.
Yeah. But no one died.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. It's great to catch up with you. We should be back, in theory, in a couple weeks. And with any luck, we'll have more knitting to show you.
We'll have another sock tutorial.
Your bunny might have buns and feet.
Yes. And then we will have the weaving videos that we've been talking about for a while. We'll start that series. So that'll be kind of a fun little tutorial set. I'm thinking it'll be 4 videos. So those will be coming up. And anything else you guys can think of that you want to see a tutorial for or have us kind of walk you through a process, feel free to let us know below. We love reading all of the comments, and it's great to have everyone who subscribes and leaves really great comments. And
the comments are so much
and
fun. The comments,
some of them are so great,
very entertaining.
But we love reading through them all and responding, and we just thank everybody for joining us again on this journey. And
you're coming up. Well, we
us this
shenanigan mess.
A year next month.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. We'll have to do something fun. I'm hoping.
Maybe turn off the microphone.
What is that supposed to mean? Oh, wrap this up.
Oh, no, I meant remember in the beginning you had some technical difficulty. You'd completely blocked that out of your mind.
Traumatizing experience. So I didn't... You had to bring that up. So my sound quality was... Oh, geez, and I just lost my shawl pin.
You're literally falling apart. We should have quit. We should have quit while we were only a little behind.
Traumatic experience. Triggering. That should have been a trigger warning. In the beginning, I went through 3 different microphones. I couldn't figure out why the sound was not picking up. And this was also before I knew how to edit it. When I had my charger plugged in and my microphone and everything else plugged into the device we record on, the input would only allow one or the other. So it was charging and the microphone wasn't working. And I figured that out, I think 3 or 4 videos in. But now we're good.
It's a process.
I think.
Yeah. It's hard to believe it's been almost a year.
Yeah.
It's exciting. And look, I've traumatized you all over again.
You have. I feel really attacked.
I mean, it's been entertaining. I think, again, we were watching Needles at the Ready, and they had a microphone. I think they were unsure whether or not the microphone was actually plugged in. And I think it turned out to not be plugged in or not turned on halfway through their last episode, but you could hear them great. And then when I think Ray leaned forward and plugged it in, like the sound was even better, but it wasn't problematic at all. And I giggled. Who knows? 1 year.
I can't believe you brought that up. I mean, thank you for all of you who have stayed through that like first 4-episode mess and are now here with us today. But
for the 16th mess.
Yeah.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna let you go.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yes.
We'll see you again.
We'll see you again soon.
In a couple
and we
weeks.
hope that you all have a wonderful couple of weeks until we see you again. And hopefully you can get out and enjoy some of the nicer weather, if the weather is getting nicer where you live. And make sure to spend some time crafting, and
We'll see you soon.
see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.